Oklahoma State at TCU. TCU is up to a 3.5, 4-point favorite here. Over under 68.5. I think we talked about this over early in the week. Both offenses have major advantages here. Oklahoma State's obviously a speed racer. I've talked about Oklahoma State. I think they're a fraud. They're a good team. They're not a top 10 team. If you look back to last weekend, playing a kid making his first start on the road, Oklahoma State, by net success rate, luckiest win of the week last week. Just got outgained by about 120 yards, even with the kid getting hurt. So they've been quite fortunate this year against a pretty poor schedule. And if you look at who they've played, and then you look at their defensive metrics, especially in the secondary, it's pretty ugly. And TCU has as good of a receiving core as you'll see in the Big 12. Some of those catches last weekend against Kansas were insane. Duggan has been awesome. He can use his legs here to evade some pressure, also some designed runs, because that's really what bit. Who's our boy Barron? With Baron Morton, he was slinging and just shredding. First career start, freshman, shredding this Oklahoma State defense. And then what ended up being his downfall is he hurt his leg, and then he couldn't. They were just bringing pressure, and then he couldn't get out of the way. Duggan will obviously be able to do that. So Oklahoma State also came out of that game much more banged up last week than TCU did after the Kansas game. So, but I also am worried about the TCU defense. The TCU defense, especially in the back end, and Spencer Sanders is playing well. TCU defense has not been great. But ultimately, I think the TCU offense will have more success than Oklahoma State and win this game. Would have loved a 3 or under a 3. They'll be in my round robin. I will be on them in some form or fashion. I don't know if it's in like money line, probably. Also, guys, I would lean over here too. I make it, I think, 72. Look, we're talking about lots of points here. There's going to be swings in this game. So, like live betting, if you like an angle, if you want to trade this, I think it's probably a great game to do so. But I think the Horned Frogs get it done. I'll be on them in some form or fashion, pregame and live. This Oklahoma State defense got exposed last week, but they got away with it. It's about to get really exposed this week, and they're not going to get away with it. What do you say?
Yeah, I have the same sentiment as you. This is the live trading game of the day. I was ready to fire on Oklahoma State +4. The market got hit once it got there pretty fast. So again, that's the number I'm looking for, with all intentions of coming back and firing on TCU at money line or a plus number when this game is actually being played. I make the game TCU -2, so I think it is a little bit too much. And if you look at Oklahoma State, they have some holes and they got away with, they've survived to be undefeated at this point, but they're actually top 10 in Havoc, and they're 4th in line yards right now, which means they might have the best chance at least putting a speed bump in the road of what's going on the ground. Now, the coverage has not been great. Max Duggan's going to go to the air, and he's going to have tons.
And they're giving up a ton of explosive plays.
Yeah, a ton of explosive plays. But the Oklahoma State defense is 2nd in the nation in stuff rate. So I'm not saying you're going to be able to stop, Amari DeMercado, or you're going to be able to stop Kendre Miller or Max Duggan on the ground. But at the same time, this will be the stiffest test from a ground perspective that TCU has had to face. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff going through the air. And then again, Oklahoma State's offensive line, they've failed to protect Spencer Sanders. Baylor's defensive front contributed just 213 passing yards for Sanders. That was because of pressure. And the good news for the Pokes is that TCU, they don't have any pass rush. Joe Gillespie's been happy with, dropping 8 or running that stack and sitting back and letting quarterbacks make mistakes. And they've been sound in tackling since Gillespie's taken over at TCU, but they have no havoc, and they have been burned by explosive passing. So, yes, this is going to go back and forth all day. I'll take Oklahoma State if I can grab before pregame, but I am definitely going to play both sides of this live betting game of the day.
Oklahoma State Twitter, I know you're going to be coming after me if Oklahoma State wins this game.